Hi, this is Beth Cooper with Bluebird Studios, and welcome to another Bluebird Chat, this time with Doug Dawson. Hi, everybody. This is Beth Cooper from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm here today with Doug Dawson. He is a very well-known, accomplished pastel artist. Just quickly, Doug was a teacher at the Art Students League of Denver, and I took a class from him. And Doug was the very first person who introduced to me no-times. You're going to be covering that in your workshop?
Well, I am, although the term that you used is not a term that I generally use. So by that, what I think you're talking about is setting a composition up with like a limit of 4 values, getting the design established with a small palette, a limit of 4 values, and so that that's one of the 2 big things that I cover in a workshop. That and several ideas about color and how to create exciting color.
Yeah. I think that foundation that's underneath every painting, this is kind of what I've gleaned from all my instructors and myself. If you could X-ray a painting or somehow change it, like maybe on a computer, you will see a foundation, just like a blueprint for a house.
Right.
That's what you taught me.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
Yeah, yeah. And your work is not, it's not realistic and it's not abstract, but it has a mixture of both to me.
Yeah, I would describe it as impressionistic. So
Mhm.
I don't strive for photorealism, but certainly people can understand what my paintings are, the subjects are recognizable. So
Mhm.
it's an impressionistic painting style.
Yeah. Well, and you have a book out that I believe I own it, and I know you can still get it on Amazon. I think it's pretty much a pastel classic now.
Yeah, it's been out of print, but I still have people tell me it's one of the better books that they have about
Mhm.
pastel. It's going to be a landscape workshop primarily. So um, that typically, all my own art is working with big shapes, using that to organize the painting, because composition is primarily dependent upon big shapes.
Mhm.
And starting with a limited palette tends to establish simple color harmony. So more typically, I'm going to begin a landscape painting by blocking in the large shapes with just 4 values. In the morning, I will go through a demonstration. I will, besides the thing doing black and white thumbnail sketches, doing color thumbnail sketches. But in any event, the day will start off with a demonstration in the morning.
Okay.
The students will work on their own paintings in the afternoon. I'll go around and help them with that. If time permits, I try to, if whenever possible, work in a critique at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, on the second day is usually a time when I specifically illustrate the idea of color thumbnails, and and I talk about black and white thumbnails and color thumbnails as 2 ways to accelerate your learning curve as far as art is concerned.
Mhm.
That the more you do, the better the more you color thumbnails you do, the more intuitive you get with color. The
Mhm.
more black and white thumbnails you do, the more you become more intuitive with composition. So we'll talk about that. Uh, that will just take a short time on the second day. Students will either continue working on the painting they started on the first day, or they'll start a second painting and try to use the thumbnails.
Mhm.
Um, the third day, uh, we'll be committed to sort of a grab bag of different kinds of techniques and principles that some of them are specific to pastel, and we'll talk about the medium and how to, some different things you can do with it and different approaches.
Now,
So the third, go
okay.
ahead.
Is it only pastel for this class? Or you,
I teach both pastel and oil painting at the Art Students League,
oh,
and
okay.
I have both kinds of students in my classes.
Okay.
So if the demonstrations will be in pastel.
Yeah,
It gets too complicated to bring two different materials along.
I
But
understand it.
but all the things that I'm going to show them with pastel can be done with oil.
And so I just want to tell everybody that at Bluebird, in case you haven't been there or you haven't seen any of my other videos, we have the night before the workshop, we have an icebreaker. Doug, I hope you know that. It's just 1 hour. It lets everybody find the studio, get your gear set up, find your table, get everything, meet Doug and feel comfortable coming in the next day. Class will
Right.
start at 9 o'clock, but you are free to get there as early as 8 because I have a complimentary continental breakfast for everybody.
Oh, wow.
Hardwood continental breakfast open until 10 o'clock. So
Oh,
everybody can get their bagel and their coffee and just be ready to start right at 9.
all right.
And then I cater in lunches to the studio so we don't have to go somewhere. On the last day of a workshop, I fix my frito chili pie. That's a complimentary lunch for everybody.
Okay.
And delicious. And people, it's been a humongous hit. We have cookies and brownies and little oranges and everything out all day. So we really take care of everybody. And then one day, probably since you show at Ventana, if this, is okay with you, and I always like to add some Santa Fe culture into my workshops. So we'll go down to Doug's Gallery, which is on Canyon Road, and then we'll have a group dinner that night.
Great. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. And your workshop is August 28th through August 30th.
All right.
So anyway, I'm just really looking forward to it because you are a legend in the pastel world, as we all know. And I just am thrilled that you're going to be here. And like we said, it will be open to, it's going to be demoed in pastel, but oil painters are welcome too. And it's just such a worthwhile class to take. You will learn concepts that just now in this short conversation with Doug, I've already learned so much. I mean, I'm honored that you want to teach here because you've just always been one of my heroes, in the pastel world. And well, Doug, thank